This episode of Vintage Finds TV, we are bringing you two amazing pieces. The first piece I'm happy to share is this glorious Bob Mackie for Saks Fifth Avenue blazer. Shall we tuck in? Are we excited? If you recall from this first episode, if you haven't watched it, you should go and remember to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. On Vintage Finds TV, we at 21st and 18th, who are committed to time travel, we believe it's possible, yes. We go back in time by focusing on the history, the provenance, and unraveling the story behind vintage pieces. So that could be vintage fashion, it could be vintage antiques, art, porcelain, you name it. We discover it. This week, I've got two exciting new fashion pieces. So this is a blazer by Bob Mackie for Saks Fifth Avenue. Bob Mackie, the name should sound familiar if you follow fashion, if you're into costuming, or you're a big movie fan. So Bob Mackie was born in 1934. He's an American costume and fashion designer. He got his start in Hollywood as a sketch artist, and he actually worked under the iconic and legendary, those two words apply to her, costume designer Edith Head. Edith Head died in 1981. She was born in the late 1800s, but she still holds the title, I believe, for the most decorated costume designer. She won a whopping 8 Academy Awards for her various costume designs in Hollywood. And so Bob Mackie started working under designers like Edith Head, and then he branched out on his own. Bob Mackie became extremely popular not only through his costumes for Hollywood and movies and television, but also for his costumes for musical stars. People like Cher, crazy, Elton John, the names go on. It's pretty impressive. Whitney Houston. So Bob Mackie is basically the mastermind behind all the sequins and the incredible stature that he's delivered Cher through her costumes on stage. You can find a lot of these if you Google or Instagram search Bob Mackie Cher. You'll find so many interesting things. And so I was really excited when I saw this piece because, of course, we know that Bob Mackie designs great costumes, but he also did design ready to wear. He designed evening gowns. He designed separates. And so this is one of his suit separates. And we have to assume that at some point it was perhaps made to accompany a pair of pants or a skirt. So maybe there was a second piece to this suit. The first thing that we notice when we see this Bob Mackie blazer are these incredible buttons. They're really fabulous. They're pink flowers, not dissimilar to what I have on my top actually, but my top is not Bob Mackie. They're pink flowers, and then the little center of the flower is this nice white ivory color that matches the jacket itself, and then all of it's framed in a gold. It's awesome. I love how it has some shoulder pads, but not too intense of shoulder padding. It's really cool when you put it on. It's a bit oversized on me, but when you put it on, it hangs kind of like a bateau neckline, so sort of off your collarbone. And that is really awesome for styling because it allows you to do fun things with whatever garments underneath, whether it's a dress or a top or a sweater. You can give it a big collar. You can wear something like I'm wearing and leave the bow hanging out. It's awesome. So I really love this piece. Just so you can see the back. I love the statement buttons. I think it's really fantastic. It's in excellent condition. When we found it, my mother actually found it. She had noted one of the buttons had fallen off, but it was just in the pocket. And so what she did was she just re-sewed it. And so nobody, I suppose, wanted to buy it because the button was popped off. But one other thing that I wanted to note, so we know that it's Bob Mackie for Saks Fifth Avenue. That was something really popular that Saks did. They had designers come in and design collections. They had been doing that since the 1920s. This, I believe, I can't find the exact piece in any collection online, but based off of the filigree for the Saks Fifth Avenue logo, that's their 1990s or early 1990s logo. And then the style, it's certainly late 80s, early 1990s. So we have to assume it's somewhere 1988 to 1991. Plus, it's in really good condition, so it's fairly new. But Saks Fifth Avenue would have invited Bob Mackie to come and do a collection. He did loads of collections with Saks Fifth Avenue. He even had a couture studio at Saks Fifth Avenue for a certain time. If you go to Women's Wear Daily, you can find a lot of interesting articles from the late 90s that are kind of downloading what happened when Bob Mackie launched this collection at Saks or that collection at Saks. So I encourage you to go do that. It's really fun sleuthing. How would I style this blazer? Because it's oversized on me, it'd be different if I was styling it for someone else who is maybe taller or had broader shoulders. But because I'm more petite and it's a bit oversized, I would style it actually with a t-shirt. So just a white t-shirt. I would keep the pair of pants that I'm wearing right now. These are Imperfect's 329A jeans. And then I'm wearing an 80s, this is actually one of my equestrian belts I wear when I play polo, but it's from the 80s. I bought a vintage, but it's a company that still makes amazing waist belts. It's called Tory Leather. And I would throw this on over, and then I'd wear a pair of black leather loafers or black leather slides with maybe a bit so that I'm completing my whole equestrian look. I also like really leaning into those equestrian moments when I'm wearing 80s or early 90s vintage. Just kind of feels like it works. You get a lot of big buttons or big brooches in the 80s and 90s, like think Pretty Woman and like basically all of Julia Roberts' suits in that movie, or some of the Banks family, the Banks women from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Hillary in particular, I feel like that style you can really lean into the equestrian bits or big pops of gold. As you can see, I'm also wearing these vintage pearl earrings. They're actually clip-ons. I love clip-on earrings. But that also kind of plays into that late 80s, early 90s style. Yeah, I'd keep it simple. I'd let the blazer be the star of the show. So this is a really beautiful Malcolm Starr dress. It is Elinor Simmons for Malcolm Starr. I love this dress because number one, it has a really beautiful, well kept up brand tag that tells me a lot of the details I need to know. So it makes it easy when you're shopping vintage. Malcolm Starr, for those who you are not familiar with, had a really popular line of evening dresses and was producing products and in the market with evening wear as well as day wear from about 1961 through the 1970s. Most of the pieces for Malcolm Starr are made in what is now Hong Kong, but it was at that time the British colony of Hong Kong. Hong Kong. So they're made abroad, which is really interesting. I found a lot of really beautiful vintage pieces made in Hong Kong. Ooh, that's a tangent we can go on another time. But the designer, Elinor Simmons, she had been with Malcolm Starr for quite some time and was designing until 1972. So we can assume that this dress is late 60s, early 70s. To me, it definitely feels late 60s. It kind of is cresting into what we would have seen in the baby doll with a shorter hemline in the 70s. But because it's longer and a little bit more structured, I think 1960s. It's incredible. When I saw it, I knew I needed to have it. It has a really lovely V-neck, which I think is pretty unique for the 1960s in this way, but it's still structured. It has long sleeves, and as you can see, those sleeves have a little bit more body. We've got these beautiful buttons down the front, and it has incredible pleats in the front. And then look at these darts that carry all the way down. It's just, they don't make dresses like this anymore. Perhaps if you're having a dress made for you, you're a really accomplished seamstress, or you're in the couture level of purchasing clothing, but you just do not see this off the rack or at a department store. I also love that the cuffs have these the same buttons down the front, right at the wrist. I think it's just so sophisticated. I tried this on. It fits me, or it hits me midi. Fits me really well. It's sort of loose, but I just love it. It actually goes really well with the bow I'm currently wearing. Again, I bought this dress at Century Girl Vintage in New Orleans, Louisiana. How would I style this? Really simply. I would wear it with, again, a pair of two-tone pumps with a 2 to 3 inch heel. and a great handbag. I think he goes super simple. Don't even wear a necklace, like maybe the earrings I'm currently wearing. I'm not a big fan of too much jewelry, just the right jewelry. Just so classic. Thanks for watching Vintage Finds TV from 21st and 18th. I'm Lauren Lynch-Wemple. Happy to be here with you today. It was super fun. If you like art, history, and fashion, visit us online at 21stand18th.com. You'll see our weekly newsletter where we time travel through a variety of decades, interview experts and people like museum curators from around the world, and then shop our online vintage catalog. We've got fashion, accessories, and antiques. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 21st and 18th. And if you want to follow me, I'm at _low_Lynch. Be warned, I mostly post about horses and fashion and my cat, Jasper. Cheers.